Hey there, everyone. That sexy nerd is back again, and since I love you guys, I'm doing another Casual Geographic. Oversimplified. Yeah, man. I just watched the last Oversimplified. It's so good. I can't wait for part 3. But anyway, yeah, this is actually pretty good. What the one rule nature never told you is that sometimes animals that usually eat plants eat other animals. Duh. But let's go a little bit more into it. So let's just get into the video. And remember, please smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content, and subscribe if you think I deserve it. And let's do this thing, y'all. I've seen this video.
She wants to come in, Dad.
It's goat. The hell?
You have been consistently lied to your entire life, and the biggest source of some of the most unprovoked lies is school. School really told us that this dude in '92 discovered America, that quicksand and giant Venus flytraps were way more of an issue than they ended up being.
Also, they told us that Christopher Columbus thought that the world was flat.
That writing in cursive was the only way you'd ever be taken seriously. And my personal favorite, whenever a teacher would say, "This won't slide in college." Whole time, your calculus professor at 5 p.m. can end up your beer pong partner by 11.
Exactly,
but
right?
There's one mistruth that insists on being spread, and before we get to that, story time. So back in the 70s, ornithologists
that
noticed
baby's
something
gonna be a champ.
even for them. Fola is a remote island over 200 miles off Scotland, and for generations, migratory birds, specifically Arctic terns and one of the Alps of Happy Feet, the skua, use it as nesting grounds to raise their chicks.
Really?
And a group of ornithologists noticed a gruesome trend of chicks with pretty graphic injuries. Some chicks looked like they had a leg or two ripped off. For others, the same, but with their wings. Some chicks even had their heads divorced from their body, for sure irreconcilable. And while some of the chicks somehow survived being mutilated, scientists had no idea what was causing this sudden rise in amputees. At first they guessed otters or even hedgehogs, but it turned out to be neither. You wanna know what it was? I promise you, you'll never guess it. I'll even give you a chance to try. Comment what you think. I bet you're wrong. The answer? Sheep.
What?
Sheep.
Oh.
Scientists observed grazing sheep stumble across a defenseless chick and without a second thought or really even much of a prequel, grab them and eat them. Sometimes the sheep would snap off a leg for a premature drumstick. Other times they might grab one by the head and initiate a permanent separation.
Oh!
From 1973 to 1980, nearly 700 baby birds have been victimized by the business end of a carnivorous Q-tip.
That's awful.
In the grand scheme of things, that's only a dent in the thousands of birds born in that time. Then again, nobody expected sheep to be involved in foul play. And that goes back to those lies I told you about. So in science class, we were taught this rule: herbivores eat plants, carnivores eat meat, and those with culinary commitment issues are called omnivores. And for a lot of us, that's where it ended, but of course, nature's more complicated than that.
It is.
It's like a spectrum, and on one end you have obligate herbivores, as in they're obligated to eat just plants or starve to death. Here you got animals like koalas, sloths, and the dead-eyed plush toy, the bear Cuz. And you have the same concept but obligate carnivores, like cats.
They're hyper-carnivores.
Of every kind. And smack in the middle are your omnivores. But there's also facultatives, and basically that means most of the time you'll find them at one end, but every once in a while they'll borrow a meal plan from the other side. Polar bears are hypercarnivores, with most of their calories coming from seals, but rarely they'll switch it up to berries, seaweed, moss, and even straight up grass.
You need
Which
food!
makes them facultative carnivores and not an obligate like a lion.
Oh, I thought they
And
were
since we're already on bears, pandas are a good example of facultative
Yeah.
carnivores. I promise it's gonna get less complicated, but the yin yang yogi's defining personality trait is being a bamboo merchant. But every once in a while, they surprise us, like when this panda was caught in 4K eating a past tense wildebeest, or when the DreamWorks jockey chased, caught, murked, and ate a peacock.
Peacock?
They've also been known to hunt pikas. That's a pika. So even though most of what goes down its gullet is bamboo, protein in the form of meat is never really off the table, which makes them facultative herbivores. And they're not the only ones. Almost the opposite. Almost every herbivore you can think of is actually facultative, even the ones you wouldn't expect. That's how the Good Vibes vegan aqua blimp has also been known to snag fish from nets for themselves.
Really?
Then you got the normally vegetarian shell jockey the tortoise, turning a rabbit carcass into a cookout. They've also been known to plot on and consume unlucky birds.
No.
To be fair, if you can literally fly but get taken off
Yeah,
the
I've seen
sentence by a
that.
mobile boulder, that's more about you than him. There was even that time India released 25,000 flesh-eating turtles to deal with the whole corpse population problem in the Ganges. It didn't work, by the way.
Yeah,
But by
I don't think
far,
it
the
would.
biggest culprit of covert carnivory are deer. The same deer that's usually the poster boy for the middle child of the food chain will occasionally get calories from something like a past tense bunny. A couple years ago, researchers wanted to see
Me
just
too.
what happens to the human body after the soul evacuates, and basically set up these body farms to see how they decompose.
And the deer
As you
ate
can
them.
probably guess, photos would go viral featuring deer chewing on human bones.
It's weird.
Scavenging through the man-made remains like vultures.
I've heard
In
of this.
2015, researchers in North Dakota set up nest cams for a 24-hour live stream of the hatchlings, and not only did the footage catch deer enjoying an extremely late-term omelet, the cervids actually outdid the foxes and weasels in that area, i.e. the ones you'd expect that from. And it wasn't just them being opportunity merchants, some of those deer went out of their way to get to them. And
That's
in Canada,
terrible.
scientists were looking to study different species of birds and so trapped them using mist nets.
No!
Only for the unhinged ruminants to stroll in and eat the trapped and struggling birds alive, right out of the nets. Growing up is realizing Bambi would have 100% turned on Thumper if times got tough.
Oh.
It's now believed that a nutrient deficiency and a food shortage is really all it takes for an animal to go from herbivore to fernivore. Because one thing about animals, they don't care. A deer not finna pass down a chance for easy protein.
I've seen that.
Says
Them eating snakes.
Twist is, almost every herbivore on Earth is
Weird.
facultative, meaning they'll take a page out of a predator's playbook if circumstances call for it. That's how you get normally docile horses
No.
eating baby birds like popcorn chicken, or that time cows in Australia were caught slurping
Yes.
pythons like fruit roll-ups, all because they were apparently fiending for phosphorus. Even giraffes, yeah, they're not safe either. The verticality merchants of the motherland will often feed off the bones of other animals. Not really swallowing them, but more like licking and sucking on it, pause. So their saliva can leach
Pause.
off nutrients like calcium and phosphorus. There have also been cases of the camel leopard cosplaying antelope snatching up birds to feed on their misfortune. So far, we've learned 3 things. 1, most herbivores are about as vegetarian as their options. 2, baby birds are really the Kit Kat bars of nature. And 3, now you see why Marty did everything in his power to get up out of there. His entire friend group would have had his hide if it got to that point. Which of
Wow.
course brings us to hippos, and this is where things get complicated. At this
Really?
point, probably surprised
Yeah, they fuck with
exactly
their
who
own
interviewed
kids,
That the
I know.
four-legged assassination cetacean can have a hankering for flesh. Hippos have been seen eating
Weird.
carcasses and even resorting to cannibalism. It's
Mm-hmm.
complicated because for a while we thought it was the same deal as before, just animals switching it up when their primary food source is compromised, which would make hippos facultative herbivores. There's that word again. Except more and more scientists are coming to the conclusion that hippos eating meat aren't just scavenging or being opportunists. It's just hippos hippoing, as in hippos will put themselves in a position to catch a body and subsequently feed on it. There have been reports of hippos murking livestock and seemingly predatory assaults.
Really?
And some even believe hippos will purposely park themselves in a river migrating animals have no choice but to cross, just
And
so
then
they can
they'll
turn
eat
the
them, yeah.
casualties into calories. Sometimes that involves punking crocodiles out of food. And of course, you already know, hippos are not above feeding off friendly fire. All
Wow.
this means hippos might not even be herbivores at all, but identify closer to the omnivore side of the spectrum. And that's why it's complicated, because now you're probably asking, what's the difference between a facultative herbivore and a straight up omnivore? And there's an answer. I just really couldn't tell you. Like, you could say facultatives eat mostly plants but can resort to meat as a fallback, where omnivores can normally go either way, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't just make that up on the spot. The moral of the story? It's way more complex than just putting labels on things and calling it a day. For
true.
example, this.
Oh.
That is a common duiker, and it's an antelope
Oh,
less than
never
2
mind.
feet tall found in sub-Saharan Africa. And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the only antelope that regularly eats meat. Along
Really?
with the shrubs and grasses you'd expect, the meal plan for this antelope undertaker often involves combing through corpses, along with lizards, frogs, small rodents, and, you guessed it, baby birds.
Oh.
And because a good percentage of their diet requires other animals to die with the T silent, I'd call the duiker an omnivore. But then, you got this. The tree-loving, pretty privileged acorn
Squirrel?
birds of the rodent world. Many will tell you that with a grocery list of mostly plants, fruits, nuts, and seeds, the squirrel is mostly herbivorous. But squirrels are also infamous
Yeah,
for
I-
raiding birds' nests and turning preemie poultry into protein.
Like, you should see it in New York. They're always getting upset with crows. You know why? You know why? It's the same thing with the owls. They go after crows' babies and, yeah, they have a deep hatred for them.
And yeah, they do this a lot. On occasion, you'll see squirrels pack up chickens
Pizza.
and snakes.
Chicken.
There was even a story of a pack of Russian squirrels ganging up on a stray dog and eviscerating the canine alive, each scurrying off with their share of flesh.
squirrel-
Not so cute now. They're not the
Squirrels-
only rodents that go rogue either.
Seriously, okay. I'm gonna tell you guys something. When I was a kid, I had this traumatizing dream that, like, I was just walking in this apartment complex and a whole bunch of squirrels. It's kind of like that Rick and Morty episode where they were following the Morty around.
Young man, come here, little boy. Tell Daphne to run a 199 on a possible Doolittle. Little boy, we'll give you wishes if you can hear us.
Except they weren't talking. and I would turn around and there'd be more and more and more until like they start chasing me, and I, you know, obviously turn around and one just jumps on my face and I'm like, ah! So yeah, traumatizing stuff. And I remember I went to my father and I told him that. He's like, don't tell that to people. They'll think you're a pussy. I'm like, yeah, you think I'm a pussy now?
Normally, grass-eating prairie dogs have been known to savage baby ground squirrels, and on rare occasions, even eat the remains.
Jeez.
In case you're curious, they do this by shaking the baby violently until their existence gets revoked. That's not even my worst rodent fact in the chamber. In 1995, a 43-year-old woman was found deceased in her flat and with facial lesions and lacerations. And the fact that she was naked from the waist down. First responders thought it was a special victims unit kind of crime. Except it was later determined that she had expired to pneumonia. The desecration of her corpse was caused by her pet golden hamster. Not only did the pet feed on her vacated vessel, law enforcement would find the hamster's makeshift burrow containing human skin, flesh, and muscle tissue. But that shouldn't even really be a surprise since hamsters are known cannibals. But what you might not know is that sometimes it can be caused by corn. Researchers at the University of Strasbourg found this out by accident when they tried to figure out why the female hamsters under their care kept dommering their own children. Through some likely traumatizing trial and error, they figured out that just a corn diet was even a hamster missing vital crucial vitamins, specifically B3. They figured that out because once they added B3 back into their diets, the mother hamsters suddenly remembered how to mother. And the crazy part is, that can happen to people. Vitamin B3 deficiency can lead to pellagra, a disease associated with diarrhea, dermatitis, dementia, and eventually dying. So in a weird twist, an unbalanced diet can really lead to spawn-wrecking rodents, and they're not the only known cannibals in nature. Chimpanzees are a great example of animals don't care. Chimps have been known to de-life their rivals and devour the body. Now to us, it's horrific and it makes chimps the spawn of Satan. To a chimp with no legal system or a sense of morality, just a will to live, it's common sense. Murking.
What are you ignoring here? Are you just making it look like people don't do that to other people as well?
Your rival to protect your food supply and not letting easy protein go to waste. And before you judge, early humans reportedly made the brains of terminated children a somewhat regular part of their diets. But I think people forget chimps aren't just violent pseudo-vegans, they're legit predators. As they will work together in coordinated attacks on prey like colobus monkeys. Which, you know, isn't all that different from getting disemboweled by a pack of Olympic-level parkour zombies. They've also been known to hunt bush babies, that's a bush baby, by using spears. But with all the chimp carnage on this channel, them having carnivore tendencies should really be no surprise.
Jesus!
The plot twist is, even the pacifists of the great apes can be on predatory timing. Most people, including me about 2 weeks ago, see orangutans as a good vibes hippie vegetarians of the primate.
No, they're not.
Which is almost true. Ginger apes eat mostly the stuff you'd expect, you know, fruits, figs, leaves, maybe some termites to go with bird eggs. But then you got this, an orangutan tearing apart a slow loris. The same one known for being venomous, which orangs figured out how to neutralize by using the loris's natural weakness. Blunt force trauma in the form of a bite through the skull. To be fair, a meat-eating man of the forest is remarkably rare. But then again, chances are, before this video, a good number of y'all probably thought orangutans were only a threat to pieces of fruit.
No, I've heard
about
I learned a lot of traumatizing things over COVID.
toucans. Well, this roided up woodpecker, which is actually what toucans are, the more you know, has also been known to put bats on permanent leave from life. Yeah, that's the part Fruit Loops commercials ain't show you. There are also one of the many animals on the list of population control.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Oh, you thought that was a mammal thing? Well, toucan play that game. Yo, who wrote this script? I did. I wrote it. I'm sorry. But birds in general will eat virtually anything that doesn't pack them up in the process.
Toucans are just nasty little
Seagulls have been
fuckers.
seen scarfing down squirrels with zero remorse. And I'm pretty sure there's at least one person in the world down a dog that says flying antichrist. But the biggest example of feathery f***ery is what happens on Malthus Island. This is where we go full circle. This island off the coast of South Africa is a nursery for the thousands of
blue-footed boobies
here, which would probably be a good idea if someone ain't snitched to the pelicans. Because a population of white pelicans started traveling to Malthus.
I don't understand what's up with these pelicans. They're just eating birds.
Just so they can swallow ganny chicks whole. It's often right in front of their parents. And if one was unlucky enough to have both parents out at sea, that's just an easy lick for this attack on Titan pterosaur. It gets worse when you realize the half-digested, fully molested baby birds often end up being regurgitated for the pelican progeny to eat. And you thought they just ate fish. Predators come in many forms, and one island in the Pacific is home to one of the most unlikely. Because if you bleed on the wrong island, you can attract a pack of coconut crabs. Not only is this satanic manifestation in the form of crustacean attracted to blood, they're more than enthusiastic scavengers. In a study done on Nikomaru Island, it took the homicidal hermit crabs a week to completely undress a pig carcass down to the bones. But with pinchers strong enough to humble a coconut, the killer crabs are more than capable of catching their own prey, especially when they can climb trees and ambush sleeping birds. This video was taken of a crab after it had snapped the hollow bones of a seabird.
Okay, wow, this videos might be scarier than the last one I just did. The diseases, man, oh my god.
The part you don't see is where a group of crabs arrived at the injured and incapacitated avian and proceeded to tear the bird apart. They've also been known to make a meal out of rats, cats, and maybe even humans. Because a grisly theory on the disappearance of Amelia Earhart was that a cluster of crabs got to her before anyone else could.
Get out of
And
here.
The worst part? There's no guarantee she was relieved from life by the time they got to her. Because even though Mr. Krabs on creatine normally goes for fruit, just like most animals on Earth, they're only as vegetarian as their options. Hug your loved ones, stay safe out there, and I'll see y'all in the next one.
Oh.
Speaking of which, my eye's fine. I got LASIK, so I look like I lost the fight, but I also got the gift of sight, so it's alright. Alright,
See
peace
ya.
out.
Won't let me down.
I cook the fish, so.
No, don't cook the
A little
fish.
nicer than you. Yeah, I guess.
Oh, so long.
Got a hook in him.
That's.
Pause.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Saving the pelican.
Pelican, go. Let the bird go.
Oh,
Good birdie.
oh,
Are you okay?
He's feeling much better now.
oh, that was nice. Ugh. Boy, I thought I was actually thinking about watching more Casual Geographic after this. No, that's too much for me. Wow, that was crazy. Oh, yeah, but I'd seen a lot of animals actually doing that. I even said that at the beginning of the video. It's because they're getting a lot less food options, and people are responsible for that. So yeah. But the two things I didn't know were the bird things, all the bird things, the like sheep eating them. I was legitimately surprised on that, and also the crabs. I had heard about those crabs, but yeah, now I know why everybody's so scared of them. Jesus, I mean, I remember they had said something about that in when they had made a snow crab Pokemon or whatever, and yeah. But anyway, let me know what you think. Did you guys get as traumatized as I did? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, please smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content. And subscribe if you think I deserve it. And I'll see you on the next episode.